All right, today we're going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action, and today we did get a nice bounce off the levels I was looking to hold on PPI volatility day, and we'll make sure to cover that data and more today. Before we do get started though, I do want to shout out to the Crypto Eagles VIP Discord because that is 50% off right now for a limited time, only going to last through the month of August. So if you do want to try out my premium Discord, it's specifically for leverage trading, by the way. It's not for altcoin gems or anything like that. It's also not a copy trading group or signals group at all. It's designed to provide value for you to actually become profitable trading because it is an extremely hard thing to do. So hard, in fact, that I don't recommend most people even try to do it because you will lose a lot of money, especially if you cannot control your emotions. But yeah, go ahead and check that out. Links in the description down below. Today we had the weekly meeting for our VIP Discord, so we actually go ahead and join up every week in a voice chat on Discord and talk about the Bitcoin price action, any trades we're taking, try to cover a topic. Right now I'm really hounding on risk management. But yeah, enough of me talking about that. Also, if you just want to join our community for free, link to the normal Discord is at the top of the description down below. But let's get started here. Not actually covering the price action, but covering this PPI data that we got. So coming over here to the 4X calendar, you can see core PPI and PPI came in under expectation, which is good. Essentially, it means that inflation should be going down. It is costing less than expected for producers to make stuff, but overall the cost isn't going down. It's just staying the same, staying at that 0% month over month. So is it going to affect price action all too much? No, I think what we're seeing on the chart was already kind of pre-programmed based on the levels we had. So let's talk about these levels here on the daily time frame. We see a nice bounce off of these two dashed lines that I have in the chart. This green dashed line is the value area high of this range. Within here, this blue line is the point of control of this range. So I had been talking about these levels because we had rejected the value area low of this range up here. So we have this big range up here with the value area high, point of control, value area low. All right, then we got this range down here, value area high, point of control, value area low. We went ahead, broke through this range to the upside, rejected this range, right? So through range 1, reject range 2. Now when we come back down to range 1, we want to see this bounce off the value area high. We don't want to accept back down into the lower range, and I'm happy to report so far so good. We have bounced off of this value area high after, we had some wicks to the point of control. I talked about how we could have some wicks down there. So we had that, and we have bounced off the value area high now, and this was my confluence to get into a long position. So I was in a long from the lows here, TP'd my long up here, and gotten into a nice long once again. So I have been playing the market pretty well. And what is my target for the long position? And of course, that's going to be all the way at all-time highs up at this liquidity at around $75,000, $76,000. Of course, I'm probably not going to wait to take my profit all at the highs. Probably be taking profit sooner than that. But I do fully expect we get up to grab that liquidity that we keep on talking about. Let's go actually to CoinEgg here. And you can see this big box of liquidity up here at the all-time highs after grabbing the $50,000 liquidity zone of these poor lows back here that we made at the beginning of this year. It does make sense now on a liquidity basis for us to actually head on up, squeeze up to all-time highs, and I think you'll see the sentiment flip bullish once that does happen. I know there's a ton of bears in the market right now, and that was another confluence that I used to get into my long position. Normally, when everyone is bearish, when everybody's calling for a recession, the recession does not happen, or at least does not happen immediately. I'm still pretty bearish overall on the macro. I do think this parabola that we have on the S&P from all the way back to 1950, 1970, we've been making this blow off top formation, and I do think the top's going to blow sooner rather than later, but I do think we have this one last up thrust, make that double top formation. I don't think we're quite there yet, although it is possible. Nothing is a guarantee. We still have not made it back over this mid-channel trend. We could reject where we are right now. I'm not saying that we're guaranteed to go to all-time highs or anything like that, but I would expect now that this value has been accepted, right now that we're back testing the value area high into support and getting back above, I do think this mid-channel trend is probably going to break, flip into support, and I just don't see this acting as resistance anymore because of that liquidity. This should start getting hunted. We should go ahead and grab these highs once again, and at that point, as I keep saying, that is not the time to get bullish. This right here is the time to get very cautious in the market because we could potentially fail these highs, except back into the range, and at that point it would be much more likely we would actually go into the bear market because there is no liquidity basis on us going up higher. Market makers could use all of this liquidity being built to fill their big sell positions, and that could be the actual top in there. So we got to be very cautious in the markets when we do get up there. But so far, I am liking what I'm seeing on the charts. I am pretty bullish on the market overall. But as we discussed, we have this range up here that we had initially rejected off of. So we still need to actually get above and accept this range back into support. Because we have initially rejected it, if we are to maintain these lower highs, yeah, potentially this was just a quick pop up to squeeze some shorts, to trap some more longs, and then we continue on down. So not out of the woods yet, but so far so good. I like this bounce off area high, and that does tell me that the next range is probably going to start getting tested and potentially accepted. We also have this daily EMA coming in right above our heads. So let's see if we can get this daily EMA flipped into support. That is historically something you want to do in bull markets. Let's talk about the dollar because we haven't covered this in some time. We talked about how we wanted this to actually reject. We did not want to find support on it because it is inversely correlated with Bitcoin. We got that very nice drop on it while Bitcoin is actually dropping. So we saw them both kind of going at the same time. But I do think the continuation on the dollar down here is going to be a sign that risk can start to fly. And with this PPI data, we are seeing the dollar drop once again. I definitely think their next target is this 100 level, and with it being inversely correlated with Bitcoin, this is a very good sign to see, and I do think the continuation on the dollar down is going to potentially send Bitcoin once again to all-time highs. Let's talk about the altcoin market real quick, because we had been talking about this sweep level on the charts. We liked that we reclaimed it, but we did fail it once again. Sweeping this level, it was somewhat acceptable, although it had deviated previous cycles, and it looks like we have reclaimed this sweep now as well. So this is really nice to see, but once again, we're not quite out of the woods here. We still have the trend of lower highs. We really want to reclaim these volume levels, get back above, and then I'll be more confident that we can actually hunt up to new all-time highs on the altcoin market. And I do think we're getting to a point where we could see that altcoin season beginning, but I do think this cycle is going to be a little bit different. I don't think we're going to see mass euphoria in every altcoin. I think there's going to be specific ones that run pretty hard while others still underperform Bitcoin, such as a lot of stuff is doing. If we jump over here to the Bitcoin dominance chart, you can see we did see this come up again today, so we'll continue to watch this. I do think this is a good potential for a top, and I wouldn't be surprised if this does roll over now and we start more of an altcoin season going forward, but only time will tell on that. It's very hard to predict Bitcoin dominance. So that's that. Let's talk about the S&P, because we had covered below off top potential and how I think we're probably going to make this secondary high, and it's still looking like that is a good probability with this PPI data. We saw S&P shoot up. I will say there is a futures gap to the downside now, so let's see if we do pull back here momentarily to fill that before the continuation up on higher, or potentially if this is a warning sign that we are going to fail and maybe enter the bear market and this was your final top for the blow off top. So not too much to go off of here, but what I really like to see is that this initial futures gap was not a full rejection. You know, I had been kind of worried here when we had the recession fears. Are the fears actually going to come alive and the, real recession start with a big falling knife and capitulations from institutions? And we're just not seeing that. We saw a big liquidity crisis here, but it is getting absorbed and we're seeing these higher highs come in here. So I really do like the bullish structure we're forming here on the S&P, and I'm sure it's relieving a lot of market participants, wanting to go back into risk on assets, and that can be easily represented by the Russell 2K. This is the index of your smaller cap stocks in the stock market, and we are seeing this start to do something that I really like to see. We had talked about, after failing this previous bull market range from 2021, that we wanted to find quick support over here on the point of controls that we had in the chart from this year in 2024. We did find support on the point of control, and we wanted to see this value area high start to get flipped into support. So let's see if we can actually get that flipped into support to target this topside range. And so far so good. Structurally on the daily time frame, this does look pretty bullish, and we jump in here to the hourly time frame, and you can see we have now started to accept these value area highs into support. So this is really good on the Russell 2K. I'd love to see this on the charts. And I think overall, with everything I'm seeing on the charts and sentiment wise, I got to be pretty bullish on the market right now. I think there's a lot of fears in the market right now. And of course, the common trope is to buy fear in the market. And while that's not always true, I do think this time it is going to play out like that. Am I saying to buy right now? Not necessarily. No, I'm not buying right now. I bought everything in 2023. That was when the real fear was at the lows. Now we still got to be pretty pretty cautious, but I do think, short-term move up for sure to grab that liquidity before a final top does come in. And of course, everything's probabilities. This might not play out. We might go to multiple six figures and to have a super cycle for Bitcoin. That is still something I'm very open to. And then also, if we cannot reclaim these highs here, if this is going to reject and fail once again, then there's a chance none of this plays out, and that was the final rejection of the value area low, and we could enter the bear market. So I'm not rolling that out either. Let's jump over here to Trading Light to see where we can find some support, and we have this big block of single prints. With Bitcoin pulling back here, I would expect these single prints to hold as support. I have my stop in profit below this low here, as well as kind of staggered up closer to these single prints. I would expect this to hold. If we cannot hold this and we do just retrace this move entirely and get under that low, then that's going to invalidate my trade. But as long as we can hold, let's just say golden pocket, swing low here to swing high, right? As long as we can hold, look at that golden pocket coming in right at the bottom of those single prints, then this of course is just an expected bullish correction to take out some of those top longers, because of course there was a lot of people longing the highs up here. You can see pretty high volume nodes up there, so makes sense to have a small pullback here before the continuation up on higher. So we'll see how this does play out. And of course, if you have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is at the top of the description down below. VIP Discord that I talked about at the beginning of this video is below that link. And then I also have exchange partners linked down below as well. And some of them are running limited time events for the channel if you do sign up using my referral link. So don't miss out on that. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.